Alright, I was looking at this and I'm thinking we eliminated the connections here, the barrel connectors here, but further down here I think I can disconnect them there and then I don't have to cut these or anything. So let's start by taking the seat off because it just makes it easier. A couple of quick release pins. These just have this sort of a deal here. So for the seat, pretty much all that holds it on. At least on this bike. I don't know if these are stock, but it's what I was able to come up with when I got this new seat. This seat's by John. Well, John the seat guy. It's actually, but the seat guy is what he goes by. But it is John the seat guy. Anyway, awesome seat, excellent quality, reasonably priced, and the guy lives northwest suburbs of Chicago. I asked for this. He didn't have anything to go by, but I gave him an idea, and I shipped him my seat pan, and a week later he had this, and it's just, I can't tell you how beautiful it is and how comfortable, and it's like a brand new seat. So now pull the side cover off so I can see down the side here. Well, that's a little dusty too. Wow. I guess it's been a while since I cleaned it. Okay, so yeah. Now, I need to, ooh, there we go. Let me get a picture of that with my phone, just because I'm not going to remember where those go probably. Okay, so now I can disconnect these. I have a pretty good idea where they go now. So there's that one. That's the one turn signal. This is the other turn signal. And these wires that are just hanging here like this, these two, these have running lights. And I opted not to have the running lights because, well, they're hard to see, and, well, quite frankly, I would rather just not have them on. And when we did all this electrical stuff, it was because it wasn't charging. Turns out, as it turns out, after replacing the voltage regulator and the stator and the stator cover and the battery and tracing everything down, the bike was in the shop for, well, beginning of June to the end of July last year, trying to trace down what was causing it. Turns out the wiring harness was causing it, so I wound up having to replace the entire wire harness, which I couldn't afford to pay somebody to do, so I wound up doing it myself. And let me tell you, that was not so much fun. But my buddy at Godfrey's Garage was nice enough to let me do the work in his shop, and he just kind of oversaw everything because he knew I just didn't have the money. Alright, that light's going to come off after I get the fender off because that's just too much of a pain to try and do on the bike. So all I have left to do here is remove the turn signals. Pull the wires through, that would help them. Now, I have to take this off the post. I don't know how much of this is showing up. Okay, this is going to take me a while, and nobody really wants to see this part of it. Anyway, just got to take the turn signals off, and then I'll take the light off when it's on the bench, and that's when I'll bring it back. Plus, I don't want this to take forever, you know, as a video. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, so my first attempt ever at using an air spray paint gun, a paint gun, I guess. Anyway, came up pretty good. I got some runs right here, you know. The first time I've ever used this kind of paint, so I have no idea what I was doing, but I did notice I had too much material coming out and not enough air. So I adjusted it, and it works better. It's better, but clearly too thin. So I just have to back it out a little bit more because it needs a little more material, but not as much as on this side. Clearly this paint is better than just a rattle can because, I mean, it's clearly, I mean, it's gonna take a lot more sanding to get it, you know, smoothed out. But it's also been an hour, and I've used a hairdryer on it, and it's still tacky in spots. So obviously it takes a while to dry, but overall not bad. And no overspray on the car, so obviously I got that right. Nothing on the tarp, nothing on the floor, so there wasn't a lot of wasted primer, but I did kill about a quarter of the can just screwing around with it, trying to get it to work right in the first place. But anyway, so this is where we're at. I'm gonna sand it down and putty the spots that are wrinkly because there's some dents I can't get out of. I can't get out of the fender. So anyway, back when I get a first coat of paint on it. Alright, there's the finished product. It's hard to see, I'll have to get a picture of it in the daylight, but it's beautiful. I mean, if I were good at spray painting, you know, with the air gun, thing would have been beautiful. But yeah, it's my first attempt, and it kind of sucks. But actually, it's better than it looked when it was rattle can. So this stuff works great. It's amazing. And I had applied a first coat, and then I went to sand it down, and I had to press real hard to get it to scratch even, you know. And so I went from a 600 grit to a 400, and that helped, but it took a lot of effort to get that paint scratched, because clearly this has a hardener agent in it. That's what I'm thinking. Being lacquer, I would think it would be easier to scratch, so they must put something in it. It's glossy as all get out too. They do sell a gloss in that can style, gloss lacquer to go over this, but I don't know. I'm not convinced I need it yet, so we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so this has actually been filmed two parts. Well, last week and this week. Last week my wife had her surgery, and it turned out well. She's up and moving around, and she's doing fine. So any reference to that earlier in the video is just from last week. So but here it is on the bike. It's not completely on the bike. I don't have the wires hooked up or anything because I still have some things I want to try and straighten the fender out a little bit. But I don't know if you can see it in the video, but it's definitely a darker black and more glossy, and it's just, this feels like glass, this does not. So, you know, it turned out well. It did. I rushed through it, and that was unfortunate because it didn't turn out as well as I'd hoped. And while it's shiny, it definitely needs the gloss coat of this stuff. They sell a gloss version of this, a top coat. So I'll have to get that at some point. I will be doing the gas tank again during the summer when I can have the door open, and I need to practice because I've never used one of those guns before, and I need some practice on it. So, but for now, this is way better than it was, and I'm liking it. I think it was worth the trial to see how it went. I did order the Barnett clutch kit, and should be here in a week or so. I also got the gasket for that, so I'm good to go there. I can put the clutch on, get the exhaust on, change the oil filter, all that stuff. I'll video that too, just, you know, why not. The only thing left that I want to do this year is replace the bulbs with LED bulbs. The taillight and the headlight shouldn't be a problem. These are aftermarket eBay special turn signals, so it has a goofy bulb in here, and I'm not sure if I can find LED replacements or not. That'll be the fun part. And the only other thing I wanted to do that I won't be able to do this year, I think, is replace the brake lines with the braided steel. The price is good. I just before I do anything more, the next purchase for this, if I have another one, is going to be a better air filter system, because the pods I have are these unifilters, and quite frankly, they're just not that great. So I'm looking for something better there. But those are going to be kind of pricey, so these work and they're in good shape. They're not cracked or dry rotted, so you know, I'll keep them for now, and maybe I'll replace them next summer, next winter. Next, I am in touch with Duplicolor, and I'm going to see if they can get me one of these in a metallic gold, because I would really love to take this apart next winter and redo the frame in the metallic gold. And if they can, then I can do that. Then I'll wait on the tank and do that next winter when I do the frame. And what I'll do is I'll have to set up some sort of an exhaust system in here so that I can paint in the winter and not, you know, be chased out by fumes. The other thing I am going to do this before I start riding is replace the oil in the forks. They need it. It's been a couple years, and what was in there was a mixture of fork oil and water. So I got everything out as much as I could, let it dry out for a couple of days, and then I added more fork oil, but I'm fairly certain I'm going to need to add I'm fairly certain I should change that out and just make sure the oil in there is oil and not an oil-water mix. And there's the headers all wrapped and painted, and it's pretty good. We'll have to see what happens when I get it fired up, but that's coming soon, so we'll see how bad it smokes when I do that. But short of that, so I'm happy enough with the way it turned out for now to leave that. But then that should be it for this week. We'll see how I get along next week. If the clutch come in, maybe I'll tackle that. If I don't have time, then it might have to wait, but I'm going to try and make some time, see how that goes. And of course, I'm saving up as much as I can towards the Yokoshima, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, exhaust for this. But that's, you know, that's 400 large, so you know, I think it's like $350 to $400, something like that. And I don't even think that includes shipping, so that should be fun. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. So anyway, for now, it's the end of the video on the rear fender. Talk to you later.